Welcome to our second edition of Bighorn Radio with David Shabazz, Lynne Peterson, and Jennifer Kirby. I want to welcome both of you today. How are you?
I'm great. It's wonderful to be here again.
Good.
Thank you, David.
No, you're welcome. Another great show. We've got a lot of great, actually, we got a lot of great feedback from our first show. Some students and staff said it was very helpful information. And I'm going to try not to be as passionate this week in regards to sports. So we're going to leave sports out of it this week. But we do have a great show for everyone today. We have Debi Vandevier is a student. She's a student services specialist, or is it disability services specialist? Yes, at the Kingman campus. And she is going to discuss with us today the advising process for new and returning students. How helpful is that?
That's great. It's wonderful. Yep, it's so important that students see their student service specialist.
Yeah, and we also have today Eric Corder, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the VA process and what steps should a VA student take in regards to getting enrolled.
Good.
So
I'm interested in learning more about that.
Yeah, so am I, and that's one of those areas that we don't hear much about. So hopefully this will be a good segment for our listeners. We're hope, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Brian Zoll, he's the associate registrar, and he's going to come on today. He'll call in, we'll meet with him, and he'll discuss what is the process for evaluating transcripts, what should transfer students expect in regards to the evaluation process. So hopefully, I think we have a fun-filled show with a lot of great information, and I don't know about you, I'm excited about it.
I sure am too.
Let's get started.
All right, great. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we should have Debi Vandevier on the line. And welcome back to Bighorn Radio, where we talk about student life, we talk about student services, instruction, getting registered for classes. And with me today is Lynne Peterson, as always, and Jennifer Kirby. And we do have a special guest in the studio. Ana Masterson is with us today, observing, and will hopefully be able to shed her light on several issues that we have today. But right now on the line is Debi Vandevier. Deb is the Disability Services Specialist at the Kingman campus. Welcome, Deb.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We are excited to have you on Bighorn Radio today. And Deb, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Basically, what I do is I provide advising services for all students. But in particular, I work with many students who have a disability and who are requesting accommodations to help them access their classes and to be, hopefully be successful in their classes. And what I do is I help them to facilitate those accommodations.
Okay, great. So do you work with, you work with a variety of students?
Oh,
New,
yes.
Returning?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great. Can you tell us, if I'm a new student and I'm walking into the student services building and, I haven't even filled out an application for admission, can you tell me, but I want to talk to an advisor. I want to know before I take my step in applying and going through the enrollment process, can you tell me what I can expect when I walk in there?
Well, you will, if you are a walk-in student, which means you don't have an appointment, you will sign into the walk-in queue, and hopefully there'll be an advisor that's available to meet with you. And if you have an appointment, then you will meet with that advisor for your scheduled appointment. And typically what I do is I talk with students about what their goals are, what their plans are, and we talk about some of the other things that might have a bearing on their success at MCC. Are they working full-time? Do they have children? Do they have transportation? All of those issues that could affect their ability to be successful in class, and we talk about possible ideas for careers that they might have, and we make a list, and I give the students a written list of all the things that they need to do, starting with, applying for admission and what they would need to do to receive and apply for financial aid. And then I give them the written list, and I also try to get an email address where I can email them a reminder of the list as well. So, and I think that's pretty much what most of the advisors do. They'll get a lot of information kind of thrown at them at one time, but it's good information.
Deb, and now with returning, in regards to returning students, is there a different process for those students? Are they encouraged to see a program advisor, or is it okay for them to visit with you or the other student services specialists?
It's perfectly fine for them to visit with one of the student services specialists. In all likelihood, they may have to apply for readmission if they've been out of taking classes at MCC for 2 or more consecutive semesters. They'll have to apply for readmission, and it is always a good idea to meet with an advisor when you come back, because programs change, requirements change. They'll need to know all of the new information.
Okay, great. And is there a particular time throughout the day that's best for like walk-in students? If I'm a busy parent, I have children at home, I work, I really want to get in and take some classes, and I have an afternoon or some time available. Is there a good time for walk-in appointments?
I would say typically, unless it's like right before classes are going to be starting, the 2 weeks before a semester begins, typically right away in the morning when we open at 9, and then later in the afternoon, like at 5, between 5 and 6 when we're open. Those seem to be the more quiet times for walk-ins. Okay,
great. And I believe Lynne also has a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Hey, Debbie, how often should a student see a student services specialist?
It kind of depends on the student. Most of the students I work with, I see them probably 2 or 3 times during the semester. But there are some students who are, who know their program, know what they're doing, especially after they've been in it for a while, and they maybe wouldn't need to see a student services specialist more than, maybe once a semester. It's usually a good idea to at least check in with a student services specialist to, make sure that you're on the right degree track, that you're taking the right classes, all of those kinds of things. I have lots of returning students who will already have registered for classes, and then they'll bring me in their schedule and they'll say, is this all right? Do I need to add or change anything? And that's pretty much all I see them for the semester. So it really is kind of an individual thing.
So I'm sure you built relationships over time with students, and that they just may want to see you, Deb, because they feel comfortable.
Yes, that is true. I have a lot of friends that come and see me regularly.
That's good.
And I enjoy that.
All right, great. I think Jennifer may have something for you.
Okay.
Hi, Debbie. It's Jennifer.
Hi, Jen.
I just want to ask real quick, if a student is requesting accommodations, what is that process?
Well, it's actually not that complicated. They do need to provide, if they are requesting accommodations for a class, they do need to provide some kind of documentation to the Disability Services Office at their campus, which is usually a diagnosis from a certified professional, like a doctor or a psychologist, or perhaps if they're coming from high school, could be an individual education plan from special education from the high school. And then they bring that in to the Disability Services Office. We look through that documentation together, talk about the diagnosis and what the students' limitations and barriers to success might be because of that disability. And then we talk about ways that they might be able to overcome that barrier, things like recording lectures or having extended time for tests. There's any number of different things that we do depending on the student's disability and the type of classes they're in. And then we work up the list of accommodations that the student is requesting, and we send those to the instructors. and the student signs them, I sign them, and we make sure that they are facilitated throughout the semester.
That's great.
So they need to do that each semester, Deb?
Yes, they need to do it every semester because their classes change, their instructors change.
Okay.
Okay, great. Once again, you're on Bighorn Radio with David Shabazz, Lynne Peterson, and Jennifer Kirby. My question, Deb, in regards to students who would like to take online courses, and are there accommodations for someone who just wants to take classes online?
Yes, actually, we have a lot of disability students who take online classes sort of as an accommodation. They may have some anxiety issues about being out, around a lot of people. So online works well for them as sort of an accommodation. Or they may enjoy, they may have some issues with, not being exposed to germs, things like that, and so that they prefer to take classes online where they can stay at home. But one of the most common accommodations that we have for online students is extended test time or extended time perhaps to complete assignments. And also we have students who use screen reading technology a lot of times on their computer at home, and their instructor just needs to be aware that they may be using that technology and making sure that the content that they post on their online class is accessible by that screen reading software.
Okay, great. And if a student wants to get in touch with you, Deb, is there a number that they should call?
Yes, definitely. They can call my direct line, which is 928-757-0813.
Can you repeat that for our listeners one more time?
Sure. 928-757-0813.
Well, Deb, we appreciate you. I know that the entire staff here appreciates everything that you do, and we're glad and excited that you took the opportunity to speak with us today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So thanks a lot, Deb. We'll be in touch.
Okay. Have a great day.
All right, great.
Bye-bye.
Bye. A lot of good information that she provided.
It's extremely valuable for students. I think that we sometimes forget how valuable your student service specialist can be in all aspects of your career here at Mohave Community College.
Yeah. Jennifer?
I just appreciate the time she took to explain some of the resources that we have available that maybe students aren't aware of when they come here as new students.
I think we all learned something with that segment. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with Eric Quarter, and we're going to discuss a little bit about the VA process. We'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks.
So what we're doing is we're seining for goldfish at the MCC pond. The idea here is that in our pond, Fish and Game have put some native fish in here, some longfin dace. Also, I believe some suckers that are also in here as well. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get rid of these pest fish that someone has thrown in here, these goldfish, because they're taking away the food and resources of these native fish. So we're trying to get rid of the competitors of the native fish.
So we have lots of goldfish in here, which we don't want because we want to only have native species of fish, which we can then nurture here and grow, and then later on hopefully reintroduce into the wild.
To do the seining, we have two people holding either end of the net. There are weights at the bottom of the net and floats at the top. And so what happens is the bottom of the net drags along the bottom of the pond, the floats stay at the top, and any fish that are in the way kind of get trapped in the net as we pull it along. We just we're almost like herding them rather than trapping them. We kind of herd the fish into one little area. One person kind of works their way around the pond while the other one stays stationary, and they move around in a circle, and then we kind of trap them, herd them into one area of the net. We grab the bottom of the net and pull it up to the side, and the fish are trapped in the bottom, and then we just pluck them out and put them in the buckets.
This is what I get to do. I mean, I was out for the last 2 days hiking 10 miles down streams collecting fish, and this is, teaching kids to do this is just awesome and give them a great experience. So this is pretty cool.
All right, welcome back to Bighorn Radio with David Shabazz, Lynne Peterson, and Jennifer Kirby. On the line with us is Eric Quarter. Eric, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, David?
Good. We want to thank you for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about the process for veterans. What do they need to do to get enrolled, and what services are available for them?
Well, the services that are available to the veterans are, the most prominent one is the post 9/11 GI Bill, and that's for veterans who served in after September 11th, 2001. And this benefit is just a great benefit. The money is paid out directly to the school for tuition and fees. the student gets a housing allowance, and a book stipend. And so these are real benefits to the veteran, because the other benefits, what they do is they send out a stipend each month, and then the student is responsible to pay for their tuition and fees with that stipend, books, and whatever's left over for living expenses.
Okay, so Eric, if I'm a student, I'm meeting with a student services specialist. I'm a veteran, post 9/11, and I'm waiting on. I've done all the paperwork, and there is paperwork I'm sure that they would have to fill out. Is it pretty extensive?
No, it's not extensive, the actual paperwork, but to get an answer, it does take some time. They can go on to the gibill.va.gov website, and they have an apply link. They can do their application for their education benefits right there through the VA. That process is fairly simple. It's getting the answer back from the VA. It can take anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the time of year the student actually applies for their benefits.
So I'm sure you encourage students to apply early.
Absolutely. But there is an area where they can show that they proved that they applied for their education benefits when they come and see the student service specialist with their DD-214, where we can go ahead and start processing them as a veteran student, and I can get them into the to the database from my end. So then that way, when they do get the approval letter, it's just that much faster for the VA to pay out, because then they're in the system on the back end for the school side, and then they don't have to wait that additional time frame.
So if you were a student just applying, how long will the whole process take?
Just from beginning to end?
Beginning to you till the day you can be sitting in classes.
Well, if we can take the registration period right now, if they go ahead and apply right now, and they want to wait for that approval letter to come in from the VA, we're looking at probably the end of December. They can come in January 2nd when the school opens back up. They can start their admission, and during that time they can start their admissions process, get a good idea, take their compass, get a good idea what degree program they want to be in, and they can be ready to go starting January 2nd, January 3rd, to come in and meet with the Veterans Advisor at that particular campus.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And Eric, if a student wants to get in contact with a specialist, who are the contact folks on the campuses?
For Kingman, the contact is Kaylin Trivas. For Lake Havasu, it's Susie Martin. For Bullhead, it's Jeannie Furman. And then for North Mohave, it's John Crowley.
Okay, great. And any, I'm sure students have a lot of questions. VA students come in, they have a lot of questions for those folks in student services. What is the most common question that you hear, Eric?
The most common question is payment. Because students are very fearful. They're coming into the unknown. As far as, they want to be responsible. They have living expenses. They have, they want to make sure the school gets paid for. They want to be able, because they want to be responsible, and so they're just not sure of how the whole process works. And when the VA does send their payment out, it's always a month behind. So they want to make sure that the student is actually attending school, going to class, and then they send out the payment. So when January rolls around and the first 2 weeks of class are at the end of January, the first payment will go out to the student in February.
Okay.
And so they're always running a month behind when that payment goes out to the student.
Okay. I think Jennifer has a question for you as well, Eric.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric, for joining us today. I have a quick question. Do VA students have the opportunity to also apply for financial aid?
They do.
Okay.
And that's a big change, because before in the past they were not able to, but now they are able to apply for financial aid and for veterans benefits. So they can essentially be double dipping, whereas before in the past they weren't eligible for that. So.
Okay.
Great, that's good information. Anna, did you have anything for Eric? Okay.
No, but thank you.
Okay. Lynn, anything else?
No.
Eric, I mean, you've provided a great deal of information, very helpful. I'm sure our listeners are going to enjoy that. If someone needs to get in contact with you, Eric, what number should they call?
They can call my direct line at 928-681-5668.
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
Absolutely. 928-681-5668.
All right, everybody, that's Eric Quarter. Eric, what is your official title?
Veteran Service Coordinator.
All right, our Veteran Services Coordinator, located at the Kingman campus. If you have any questions, please give Eric a call. You're listening to Bighorn Radio at Mohave Community College. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Bighorn Radio with David Shabazz, Lynne Peterson, Jennifer Kirby, and sitting with us today is Ana Masterson. On the line is Brian Zoll. Brian is the Associate Registrar here at Mohave Community College. Brian is going to discuss today the process for evaluating transcripts and assisting our transfer students. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. We're glad and excited that you were able to join us today. So tell us, Brian, I'm a transfer student. What's my first step?
First step is making sure you get your transcripts here. So you need to contact the institution that you've attended and make sure that they mail an official copy to us. If they send it to you, if you're the student, you receive it yourself, it is considered unofficial, even if it's sealed. So
wow.
Very, very important that you have it mailed directly to us.
And that information is out on our website, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and that's under is it under the Student Services tab? I know there's some tabs there out on mohave.edu.
It's in several places. It's linked off the Registrar's page as well. That information is also in the catalog.
Okay.
So we've got lots of places we try to get that information out to.
Okay, great.
And students that are applying for financial aid or veterans benefits, it's important they have all institutions that they've ever attended previously that they've ever attended have those evaluated. Both the financial aid and the Veterans Administration require everything you've ever done to be looked at, even if you don't think it's going to come in.
Okay. Well, Brian, what if I owe another institution money and I can't get those transcripts as much as I want to? Will that prevent me from registering or receiving financial aid or VA benefits?
Yes, it'll hold things up. I know in the case of veterans benefits, you can attend a little bit of time here, but eventually they will pull the plug on your ability to continue. And same with financial aid. It'll hold things up because you are required to get them here. So if you owe money to that other institution, you're going to have to settle that debt and get those transcripts here.
Okay, great.
Brian, where do you send the transcripts?
You're going to send them to the Registrar's office. So you can send it to directly to Mohave Community College, Office of the Registrar, Mail Stop 104, 1971 Jaggerson Avenue, Kingman, Arizona 86409.
Okay.
And is that true if I need them for financial aid as well?
Yes. You're going to send those directly to our office as well. That process has changed, and students are going to be able to, when they put in their request for evaluation, note that they're a financial aid student.
Okay. And Brian, so what if you have my transcripts, they're on file, they were sent to Mohave Community College Registrar's Office, Stop 104, 1974 Jaggerson Avenue, Kingman, Arizona, 86409, but are they going to be evaluated?
No, not until the student puts in the request.
Okay. And where can that be found?
That request is found online. They can go on to jics.mohave.edu, and they can click on the Admissions Apply Online link, and that'll bring them to a page. If they scroll down just a little bit, they'll see the request transcript evaluation information. And it's got the steps listed for the students. Tells them, number one, to call MCC Connect at 1-866-664-2832, and MCC Connect will be able to verify whether or not those transcripts have been received. And what they'll do is they'll read through this information, tells them to request evaluations only for transcripts that have been received. So if they've put out requests for 4 different schools and they call MCC Connect and find out we've only got 3, then those 3 are the ones they should put in the request. They should not request high school transcripts to be evaluated because we don't evaluate those. The high school transcripts are important for students on financial aid to verify that they've completed a degree, but there is nothing on that transcript that's going to carry over.
So, Brian, my question is, okay, I request for my transcripts to be evaluated. How long is that process? How long do I have to wait?
We generally tell the students it's approximately 4 weeks to get evaluated, and that just depends on the time of year. Currently, that request is taking a week or less. When we hit peak times, which are right before the beginning of another term, that sometimes pushes it out closer to the 4 weeks.
So you're telling me, Brian, let me see if I understand. You're telling me right now I can have my transcripts sent here, and once you receive them, you can have them evaluated within a week?
That is correct right now.
At this current time?
At this current time, yes.
Oh, that's very helpful information for students.
It's wonderful. And you'd evaluate it both for credit and for my financial aid requirements.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
And then the credits that you're going to evaluate my entire transcript?
We're going to review your entire transcript, but we're going to evaluate it based on the program that you're pursuing.
Okay. So if I'm going into, say, administrative of justice, you're only going to evaluate those credits that transfer into that particular program?
Yes, or if there's a math or English class that would help you meet prerequisites for other courses, that may end up on there as well. But primarily what's going to come in is what is needed for that administration of justice.
Okay. And this information is out on the web, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
Another thing with that for students to remember is for a class to transfer, those grades need to be a C or higher. So if they've got a C minus, that grade is not coming in, which means that course is not coming in.
Okay, great. That's good to know. That's good to know. So if I have a D plus, just too bad for me. I should have done better.
Well, it's just not going to come in. I won't go as far as to say that. But
I was just trying to trick you there, Brian, to see what you were going to say. Okay. Well, anything else you think our listeners need to know, Brian, in regards to the Registrar's office and transfer students evaluating their transcripts?
Just a couple little things. If students have attended quarter unit schools, that will affect how it comes in. Quarter units are usually equal to about 2/3 the value of a semester credit. And so there's a calculation we need to do, and that's listed on page 50 of our 2012-13 MCC catalog. Shows a breakdown of what a quarter credit is equal to in terms of semester credits here at Mohave Community College. And there's a little additional information of how that may carry over, but that sometimes can affect students thinking they've completed a course, and those units may come in short, and they may not actually have the credit with us.
Okay.
Another thing is we do have transfer time limits on certain types of courses. The board policy is that science, allied health, computer, and other technical courses taken 10 or more years ago are not going to transfer, and they would need to be retaken. And because of other agreements we have, fire science, emergency medical services, administration of justice, and early childhood education courses actually have only a 5-year transfer time limit.
Oh, wow. What about math? Did you mention math or algebra?
No, math actually does not currently list a transfer time limit.
Okay.
So if a student's taken math years ago, that still could come in, although if it's been a long time since they've done it, we would definitely recommend they consider compassing to see where they would still stand.
Okay. And I know there are a lot of students out there that are coming to us from California, Nevada, and different states, and they've completed, they may be interested, Brian, in our nursing program or our LPN program, and they've completed anatomy and physiology, and maybe it's been 5 years or 10 years. Is there a limitation there?
There is a tenure that goes with the science.
Okay.
And so, definitely.
Because I hear that all the time. Students they're interested in our nursing program, they have anatomy and physiology 1 and 2, and they want those credits to transfer, but they attended 12 years ago, and they come to understand that we're not going to accept those credits being over the 10-year mark.
Correct.
Okay.
Also, another other thing for a student to keep in mind, if they've attended another institution and they were on probation when they left that school, like an academic probation, and their GPA is below 2.0 when they get here, we're going to place them on academic probation for that first semester here, which is going to limit the number of credits they can enroll in. And it's just to keep them from getting overwhelmed, making sure they can do the best that they can once they get here.
And what does that mean when you say academic probation? Are they limited to 6 credit hours, or what does that mean for that transfer student?
They're going to be limited to 9 credit hours.
Okay, good. Probably just give them a chance to get into an academic rhythm.
Yes.
Okay, more than anything else, and not overwhelmed. That's good.
It is good. We want our students all to be successful once they get here.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. Well, thank you, Brian. We appreciate you coming on the show today. Very helpful information, and I know our students are going to appreciate it as well.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for having me on.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was pretty good information. I thought that he provided details and information that can help students throughout the process. Eric, again, information. I think this was a great show.
I do too.
It's fantastic.
I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for attending and listening to Bighorn Radio with David Shabazz, Lynne Peterson, Jennifer Kirby, and with us today is Ana Masterson. Ana, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing from you. If you have any comments or show ideas, you can send us an email at admissions@mohave.edu. Until next time, take care.